We have a story of how Mary comes to know that she will have a special son. Sometimes in the same family, people tell their family stories differently because everyone remembers the story their own way. When Luke tells about the first Christmas, he begins the story in Nazareth. There was no Herod back then, so the story started in Nazareth. Nazareth was kind of far away from any big places. Nobody famous lived there, but there was a young woman whose name was Mary. Mary didn't think that she was very special, but she got visited by an angel whose name was Gabriel.
Do not be afraid, Mary, because God loves you and wants only good things for you. Mary was a little afraid in case the God thing meant that she was supposed to do a good thing for your God. That might be hard. You'll have a baby and he will grow up to be a great and important king. This baby will be holy and people will call him Son of God.
Mary couldn't help but ask how she was going to have a baby all on her own.
God will help you. When God chooses you to do something, God makes sure that you are able to do it. Having God as a helper means you can do lots of things you can't do just on your own.
So Mary agreed to do her part and the angel left.
In this story of Christmas told by Matthew, Joseph, and Mary, we're a young couple not yet married. People began to notice that Mary got very big. At first, Joseph wasn't pleased. He was not sure about becoming a dad. He was thinking that Mary should marry somebody else. All this thinking made Joseph tired, so he went to sleep. While he was sleeping, a dream came to him. In this dream, Joseph sees an angel. You can see lots of different things in dreams, but in this one, the angel speaks.
She will make a fine wife, and you will have a special baby boy who is a gift from God. He will be called Emmanuel, which means God with us.
Luke tells us about Mary's cousin Elizabeth and about the birth of Jesus' cousin John the Baptist. Families have mothers, fathers, cousins, aunts, and uncles. Jesus' family started off small. There is only Joseph and Mary, and they have to go from where they live in Nazareth to an even smaller place called Bethlehem. There were no taxis or buses or cars, so probably Mary rode on a donkey and Joseph walked beside leading the donkey. In Bethlehem, there was no room in the small hotel for Joseph and Mary, and hospitals were not invented yet, so Mary gave birth, and they put the baby in a manger, where is a special box to hold food for the animals. In the fields near Bethlehem, there were shepherds looking after their sheep. An angel came and told them that there was a special baby born in Bethlehem. Other angels came and sang praises. After the angels left, the shepherds headed into Bethlehem to find the manger where Jesus was. It got crowded when they all came into the stable, but everyone wanted to see the new baby. Have you ever seen a new baby? Don't people get excited when a family has a new baby? One time you were a baby, and maybe your parents knew you were a gift from God too. But I'll bet you didn't have shepherds and sheep coming to see you in the hospital or the nursery.
Now we go back to Matthew telling the Christmas story. It is Matthew who tells about wise men from the east because they were from far away where they were not exactly sure where Jesus was born. So they went to the biggest town called Jerusalem and asked for directions. Thanks for pointing them this way. Even King Herod heard about the important visitors were looking for a baby who would be someday grow up to be the king of Israel. King Herod wanted to stay king and not have anyone else take his crown. If he could, Herod would harm Jesus and his family so that Jesus could not grow up to be the king. The wise men looked up and followed the special star, which they believed that God had sent as a guide. Back then, they followed stars, not GPSs. Matthew tells us that the wise men brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. There were men so that they didn't think of bringing casseroles or baby toys or blankets. The special gifts they brought were really special gifts that were okay for an adult king. The gifts were shiny gold and expensive perfumes. They meant well. I'm sure that Joseph and Mary were pleased with the gifts, even if it was a baby. Jesus didn't know what to do with them. After presenting their gifts, the wise men went home different ways so that King Herod and his soldiers would not find baby Jesus. Matthew says that after the wise men went away, Joseph had dreamed in which God warned him to take Mary and baby Jesus to a safe place. We don't have many stories about how Jesus grew up, but we know that he must have been loved by his parents very much. God loves each of us very much, just as Mary and Joseph loved Jesus. At Christmas, we remember that God gives us Jesus to show the power of God's love. We continue to show God's love in gifts that we share to help people in need. Thank you for your gifts you have brought today.
What do you think? Are they ready for Broadway? As we think of the Christmas story, travelers stuck on busy roads, no room for Mary and Joseph at the inn, confused shepherds, determined wise men, we realize that people find themselves in different places along life's journey. Through our offering, we provide a place for people to collect their thoughts each week in worship. We also provide temporary assistance locally and globally through mission and outreach projects of the church. Bless the financial gifts we are about to give and those given through PAR, so that we and others may be blessed by the never-ending story of love and care. Our offering will now be received.